On the network with my buddy Chris Stevenson. How you doing, Chris?
What's going on there, Pat?
Hey, there is a lot going on in the world, but once again, we need to talk about something very, very important that a lot of people refuse to talk about anymore, and that is the fact of institutionalized and racism in general. And a lot of it, if you haven't noticed, is geared at President Obama. A lot of people don't want to admit that a lot of the attacks against him are vicious. They're mean-spirited, and a lot of them are race-based. I've never seen such attacks against a presidential family and the disrespect of a first lady in the manner that so-called American citizens have done against the Obama family. Am I correct?
Oh, you're correct. What I've noticed, especially this week, I've seen 3 separate attacks against Obama. I got a column coming out on that. One of them has to do with Jim Sensenbrenner. He's a Republican out of Wisconsin, and he was overheard during a telephone conversation saying that Michelle Obama is trying to get people to, onto the health program,
right,
losing weight and everything, and to not be obese, and she herself has I'm trying to put it the way he did, a large derriere or something of that nature.
That is sickening.
Yes,
sickening.
I don't see. I'm saying what I've seen of Michelle's derriere, what you see in public, looks fine to me.
Looks fine to me.
Looks perfectly fine. I don't see what the deal is.
But it's a disrespect.
Oh, it is.
Of the culture of African people in this country, or around the world. The culture of our people. Mm-hmm. We have lovely shaped derrieres, and that is one of the strong points of our people.
I like to say pleasantly shaped.
Pleasantly beautiful.
Okay, that's what I've always
absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
But in your ignorance and hatred towards humanity, you continue to attack people in a racist manner.
Yeah.
But racism doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
They can't have it both ways. They can't have it both. They can't say it doesn't exist anymore and then make these allegations. What's going on is a lot of these boys they are just straight up, they grew up just dealing with each other. Okay?
There's no diversity in their friendships.
No diversity in their friendships, in their associations, and probably in their schools or anything. And when they see that they're not familiar, it's not just that they're not used to seeing black people, period, but here's one running the country.
Right.
And so which of course, when you have a president running the country, we're being made to, as we were with the Clinton family, the Nixon family,
right,
the Bush family, we got acquainted with their families also.
Yes.
Okay.
And we respected them.
And we respected them.
Never attacked them in the manner that we've seen President Obama.
I've never seen that. I have never seen that before.
And the viciousness of the attacks.
Exactly.
I mean, the Bush family, with the drama he had with his daughters.
The drama he had with his daughters, and Bush didn't even get into the White House, and I still say not even an honest way. The Supreme Court had to get him in.
Right.
Okay, he was outvoted by Al Gore.
How about the Clinton family? I mean, good old our guy Bill and his escapades.
Exactly.
I felt that the media gave a respectable pass to dealing with Hillary Clinton after this.
Right.
None of this has occurred during the Obama administration, yet you have constantly referred to his family as monkeys. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's a different subject right there, but you're right. And staying on the subject of Hillary, Michelle Obama. This follows what Rush Limbaugh had said about Michelle months ago, if you remember. And he compared her, he said she doesn't look like the women on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Okay? She looks closer to them than other first ladies have historically been.
She is a beautiful lady a lot of class, a lot of decency, a skilled attorney herself.
Yeah.
And has done more, as she's taken the First Lady office to another level.
She comes from an accomplished family.
Yes. And
you know, the
think
Robinsons,
about it. Presidential candidate Governor Rick Perry said that Obama comes from a privileged family. President Obama comes from a privileged family. Last I checked, didn't his father take off and leave?
Yes, he did. There were some years he didn't know who his father was because his mom married a Sotero in Indonesia.
Yes,
and went to Hawaii. And so his name was Barry Sotero, Barry Obama, Barry whatever. Okay, until he went back to Kansas and his grandparents raised him the rest of the way.
Right.
Okay, and they weren't rich. You know, they did okay. All right, they did a good job raising him and sacrificed for him, but that doesn't equate to privilege.
But hasn't this whole mantra of evil that they've dealt with is beyond the rationale of country first? With the Constitution of the United States, this is what Dr. King died for. Mm-hmm. Dr. King tried to make America sane. His goal was to make America live out the true meaning of its creed. Yeah. They have diversified so far from that vision in 1963 to where we are now that Republicans have vowed that they will not pass any legislation. This is their words, not mine. Yeah. They will pass any legislation. They will not pass any legislation that would assist in the re-election of President Obama, even if it was to benefit the American people.
That's right. Because the core reason is because it will make him look good.
Right.
Number one, I never heard of that. And think about that. That's old neighborhood style thinking. Okay, old neighborhood spiked. All right, this is lower than white trash type thinking. Okay, scheming and plotting like this, and he just was able to get this latest bill through the extended tax cut, the extended Bush tax cut. They were grumbling because there's a provision in there that extends the unemployment benefits. And also, it benefits people making $50,000 a year. For 1 year, they can save $1,000.
Right.
Okay, and they're kicking and screaming over that. Okay, so what you're dealing with is a bunch of childish people, and it's easy to say. You brought up Martin Luther King. That an excellent analogy, because when you think about it, it's easy to say, "Oh, I agree with King." You hear a lot of white people say that. Oh, I love Martin Luther King. A lot of white people didn't love Martin Luther King when he was alive.
Never did.
And it's the same thing today, because now they're seeing the reality of what King died for. And they're saying, okay, here it is. This is one of the things that he died for. They're like, oh, no. Well, what do you think he died for?
Right.
That's it. What do you think he died for? So, these people, they are off the chain nowadays.
Yeah. Chris, I have never seen a country, they're calling Washington dysfunctional. Washington is not dysfunctional.
No.
The problem is there are white Americans that have aligned themselves with the Republican Party, but also in doing this, they have failed to announce that they have aligned their hidden racist agendas with a party that was not founded on those accords, because it used to be the party of Lincoln. It emerged out of the fall when the Whig Party fell apart. You have the Republican Party began to emerge, and the Republican Party technically is supposed to be a conservative party. It's supposed to be a party that is in this day and time is for tax cuts. Therefore, tax cuts to 1% of American citizens. But they are not for tax cuts for the 99% of American citizens. They feel it will trickle down to them through osmosis of some kind. But why is it, Chris, when you look at this, though Obama has passed so many bills during his tenure, the Republicans have become so unpopular because many Americans are starting to see through their stances that you're only doing this to hurt President Obama.
Right.
But they don't want. Why don't y'all come out and say what this is?
They're not going to do that. They will.
They just won't come out and say it's racist.
They are living in deep denial. They're just not going to do it, and they think that they're helping their own cause. They're not. Okay, they will plunge the country under if they can get away with it. Yes. They don't care. Just as long as they make Obama a one-term president. Obama, you may not agree with everything he's done, but he's fulfilled like 85% of his promises. That's amazing.
He's fought the war on terror better than Republicans.
Yes.
Better than Republicans. And y'all started the war on terror.
Yeah. And as of last week, the last tank rolled out of Iraq. As of last Sunday, I think it was.
Yes.
The last tank rolled out of Iraq. That war is over. It's done with. They're on to a civil war. Let them have it.
Chris, I spoke with a co-worker that is in the service. He's a captain in the service. He's a Republican. He was in Iraq for 1 year and 3 months. He was attacked regularly by so-called, they call them insurgents, whatever they want to call them. He said his base was attacked by rockets on a regular basis. And he said, since I have been over in Iraq for over 16 months, and now that I'm back, I have a totally different perspective on the invasion of Iraq. He said that he no longer feels the way he did before he served over there, and feels that we should have never went over there. And he is a white American Republican young man who's a captain.
And he now feels that we should have never went over there.
He said we should have never went over there.
That's incredible. And that shows you he was there. He was there up close, and he saw it.
He said it's a situation you can't win. You could not win it. It was not worth the killing of innocent lives, including your finest soldiers. You cannot win. You can't come and make people do what you want.
Dick Cheney won.
That's all it was. Now, that's what he talked about.
The old companies won.
He said this war was not. And he brought out one of the biggest points about that conflict. And this is what Republicans aren't owning up to. They said, oh yeah, we're going to get the oil. America has less control on the development of Iraqi oil than any of the major nations around the world. Britain has more development in Iraq as far as oil, and China and Russia have more development and of oil and petroleum than the United States of America at this very moment. China just signed a multi-billion-dollar contract to develop power grids and power stations in Iraq. They're trying to get American companies to have more interest in developing Iraq. Other countries are investing more money than America right now. And it's a strategy that also lets you know that the stakes are going to be bigger if Iraq goes into more of a conflict. This strategy of getting other countries to develop Iraq's natural resources is also a great policy of who? Not George Bush, but the Obama administration, because now Russia has bigger stakes, China has bigger stakes, France has bigger stakes, Britain has bigger stakes, whereas not everything would be on the United States if that country falls apart. Also, in what Bush did, he opened the door to Iranian influence into Iraq, whereas before, because of Saddam Hussein was there, you did not have the Iranian influence. And that's something this former active duty soldier told me. He said basically the parliament of Iraq is dominated by the Shiites, very few Sunnis. And Iran has humongous influence in the decision makings of Iraq, and that's not a good thing.
No, it isn't.
Not for American interests, and from what we're seeing.
Yeah,
but this is something too that we have to look at and we have to continue to talk about. That America, these are not Republicans per se. They belong to the Republican Party, but they are not admitting that they're attaching political agendas and not admitting to the hidden agendas of racism that's following these. And I've never seen anyone and their families, things that would help America come out of this recession were shot down. Yeah. The Bush tax, if you eliminated the Bush tax cuts right now, you begin knocking down the deficit. Yeah. All they do is talk about, Obama has put $4 trillion on the deficit. The $4 trillion he put on the deficit was basically started by Bush before he left office. Yeah. Wasn't TARP a Bush thing?
Yep.
I mean, why aren't they taking credit for this, Chris?
I don't know. This, like I said, it's all a race-based thing. That's the main thing.
But have you ever seen cartoons? You've been in the media a long time. Mm-hmm. Have you ever? There's always cartoons and stuff, but not cartoons and insinuations that have that racist tone to it that we've seen.
I haven't seen that. I remember there was a cartoon, a Bush monkey cartoon, once during the Bush administration. But with Obama, they're going crazy. Now, this thing here, you talk about monkeys, you talk about, and it reminds me of what this other guy from California, Jules Manson, he got mad over a Bush military policy last week.
Right.
Put it on his Facebook page and said they should assassinate the nigger, the N-word guy, and his monkey children. Okay? Right here, this guy making a horrible reference to Obama's beautiful daughters. Little girls.
Yes.
I'm thinking, okay, this guy should be arrested no later than tomorrow, okay? All right? This guy's a bum, okay? This guy, the next day, and this guy, he's a failed politician. He ran for office, I think, some time ago in California. Didn't get any, made less than 1% of the vote.
Wow.
So what happens, the next day, the Secret Service do knock on his door. They say, listen, Jules Manson, we want to talk to you. We want to search your house, search your garage, he lives in a trailer house, matter of fact. He lives in a trailer house in California.
Oh, boy.
They search his house, search his computers, everything. So he says, hey, well, that's it. They just came by to search. That's it. They said, and they told the New York Daily News, they said, no, we're not finished with him yet. This is still an open investigation.
Oh, boy.
You know? So he caught himself into a world of trouble. Then he goes on, I think, Facebook or the Examiner, then reprimands the people who badmouthed him for making that horrible statement anyway. And he says, well, I just made that out of, it was something I said in emotion, in just a rush of emotion. I forget his exact words. But he's saying, I have freedom of speech. I didn't really mean it. And if you guys are mad at me, then you deserve what you get. You deserve the government you get.
Oh.
Now, this is supposed to be an apology.
That's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. So what happens? This guy's a real piece of work. Okay. I'm trying to think what happens after what happened after that, because he put this in the Examiner. A lot of people, of course, attacked him again. And I'm thinking he just doesn't. He refuses to see himself in the wrong. Okay.
Why is it that they don't see racism?
I don't know. But see, here's the thing. It's one thing to be upset with Obama over a policy. Why throw his kids in it?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You might be mad over a decision Obama made or whatever. Okay. Fine. Why do you throw his kids in? That gives away something about you.
But America, you're supposed. This is not overseas where you see parliaments and legislators fighting and all of that. This is supposed to be America. This is supposed to be the vanguard of democracy. Yet, during this administration, there has been a refusal of a natural adhesion to political debate, but in the bottom line, no matter what, the interest is always America.
Well, you know something, I'll be honest with you. The last time America was the vanguard of democracy was when the Native Americans ruled.
Well, I said it's supposed to be.
Okay,
I'm not trying to. We know that. You know that.
Yeah. Right,
I said, but America is supposed to be the world leader.
This country,
the world example of how to conduct democracy without murder. In other countries, when they disagree with somebody, they might get shot.
They might get, and we criticize them.
But I'm talking about, you're supposed to be the model. The world is looking at you, America. The world is watching how you have treated your first known president of color. And maybe that's why the other 8 hid it from view that were presidents of color. Those of you need to read J.A. Rogers' book. That there were other presidents of color, but they never revealed it. And maybe that's why. They would not tell you their true identities because of how you've treated the first openly elected president of color.
Amazing. Well, see, J.A. Rogers is a brilliant historian.
Yes, sir.
A brilliant historian. What's going on today, as long as this nation is founded and run by criminals who were disenchanted with how things were going in Europe, you're going to get criminal behavior. And I don't, regardless of how many generations it's been. That's the way it is. They can sit there and preach. After all the chaos, they can write down some laws and everything and make things look organized to some extent, but it's still run by criminals.
But wasn't the hope when President Obama was elected that finally America has looked in the mirror and realized that there is a level playing field and everybody is now humanly equal? That there's only one race in America, and that is the human race.
That's the way.
And that racism is gone.
It's gone.
And will never come back.
That's what people assume.
Oh yeah.
That's what people assume. But as you know, there were some people out there who got even more angry after it manifested more hatred after Obama got elected.
He's had more threats than any other president in history.
And he smashed that record. That record is gone. It's gone.
That was the first month of his presidency, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, we're about out of time with the network today. I'm here with my buddy Chris Stevenson. We'll be back here next week. If you want to talk to us or comment on the network, you can see us on YouTube, or you can go to Chris's dynamic blog site and see that. Chris, can you give them that information?
TheBuffaloBullet.com.
BuffaloBullet.com. The network is there. Tell us what you think. We want to hear from you. We're not afraid to talk about it. So let's talk about it, even if you disagree. That's all for us here on the network. I'm Pat Freeman and my buddy Chris Stevenson.
We're out of here.